food too. They have a buffet, which isn't very good, but if you order off the menu, it's all good. Yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna go into town, and if you all kind of hang
Okay.
somewhere, I'll go with you, okay? My favorite's the Thai, it's really a nice,
Thai is
very
always good.
spacious, it's right in the square, we could stop in there. Okay. I was just explaining that this is day 10, last day of Language 2, and we, in the past, this is the first time that we've extended the course to 10 weeks as opposed to 8. And we still are not going to, we're going to be rushing to get through level 4. I have ventured a suggestion to our team that we have a workshop just for level 5. And that would be something that we would work again as a panel thing, because many of us have more experience with level 5 than others, and we could make it more helpful. But right now, that's more information than you need right now is level 5. But never hesitate. I was just last night reading through it. I've only gone through it twice in my 12 years. I've only gone through level 5 twice. And it's always done delicately. It's really, as Sandra describes it, is most like all other curriculum. It's not really as therapeutic and integrated in procedures as the earlier levels are, because the content is so irregular and so fuzzy. As you know, going through level 4, we're getting more into, is it regular for reading, irregular for spelling, is it irregular for, we have all that evaluation of what it is our students have to actually synthesize as they look at it or hear it. In level 5, it's extraordinary in that regard, because you get into the Greek words, and you get into French endings, and you get into other things. But it's an important piece if your student's ready. And she talks a lot about determining whether or not your student is ready. And often we incorporate our study skills things in with it. And of course, you're at that stage of paired reading of interesting controlled text with them as well. So it's a very different level, and it covers concepts and spelling and reading patterns that you need to take your time with, okay, and not rush through it at all. Very, very slow pace. But level 4, we're going to try to get through it all today. And one of the reasons I extended this for 2 weeks was because in the past I've always felt like I'm talking like a cartoon, to get through the material, and everybody's eyes are spinning and then they leave and I go, I really don't know that I offered anything of concrete help or encouragement to people. And this time I've really taken more time and given you more opportunities to practice some things and fielded more questions. And we did take a great deal of time in that behavior management seminar, that workshop, which took a whole half of a day off of us. So was that worthwhile to you? Did you feel that it was worth doing?
I think it was worth doing, but it seemed like we could have done that like on a separate day, like maybe as a workshop, just like you're trying to do for level 5, and then we could have got more done.
I hear you.
class.
I think in the future we will include it as part of a ongoing workshop series, okay? There is a Language 2 Google Classroom now, which I'm hoping will be up permanently, so anybody who is going back and starting to teach, they can revisit those lectures, revisit those handouts. You can always print off those handouts at any time. And then the workshops will be the same way. We'll have a different workshop site that will have the handouts and hopefully the video of them. So you'll have more resources to look back on as needed, okay? So this is our goal. We're getting there. Technology's not one of my forte. And I think we have someone named Brooke who is a web specialist who's kind of helping us with it, but it's a touch and go thing. Have you all had success in accessing the videos and the handouts from the classroom?
Yes.
Okay, no problem.
It's just off and on. That's the thing. Like getting into it's off and on. Like I keep having to, email Ellen again and ask her for access, and then
I've
she
had
gives
that
me,
problem a little bit too.
some link or something to join again. But
Yeah.
I don't understand why I have to keep joining. It seems like once I join, I should
I
be
don't
able to
understand.
access.
Has anybody else had that problem, or is it just something Tina and I share as
No, I
sisters?
had it at in the earlier weeks
Uh-huh.
when I was initially trying to access. I spent a week with Ellen and Brooke.
Okay.
trying
Mine
to get
is
access.
getting it to load, but if you guys aren't having it, it must be my computer. just keeps spinning.
And sometimes you have
Oh,
to
I
ask for
haven't
new
had that
passwords.
problem.
Yeah,
They
that's what-
changed the passwords.
Yeah, they
so you
said
have
that
to
your
email
password
Ellen.
has been changed.
Who changes the passwords? I don't get it.
I don't know.
Because I've
Mine-
had
that's
that
what
happen
mine said.
twice.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
what
have to
mine
open
said.
a whole new account and everything.
Mm.
Now, I just very carefully pray as I
I know.
Google Classroom and click on it and it came up. You know, it's sort of very happy when that happens because I have to upload the new stuff, you know. I have not yet been able to watch any of the videos and maybe that's good.
What's on there right now? Because when I looked this week, it was up to lesson 7. Is that not?
Well, it
supposed to
should be
more?
up through 8 or 9 by now. It should be.
Oh, okay.
I get a
Maybe I
new
wasn't-
card every week. And again, it's going through YouTube apparently, so it's no longer posted right on Google Classroom. You have to be able to get to the videos on YouTube, so I don't even know how to do that. I'm sorry I'm not being much help to you, but, you know,
So
Ellen's
our
always
contact with
available.
Ellen then for
Yes,
trouble?
yes. She's the one who doles out the passwords and, okay. This world of technology is becoming more and more fraught with concern in my mind. When the FBI steps in, you know you're in trouble. Okay, so today, I just wanted to go as far into level 4, overlying all the things that you do as you branch into new territory, what you should be thinking about, okay? I've given you some handouts that are like checklists, what you do when you introduce new concepts, what you do when you move into a new level. Those are things I want you to be able to access. And I came up with a new idea this week, and I tried to write up a paper description, and I fell apart, so I'm just going to talk to you about it. We're at a level now where all 6 syllable types are known to the student, okay? And that is very important in reading, that they recognize the patterns. And by seeing the patterns and being able to divide their syllables in such a way that they can see the syllable patterns, they'll know how to read and code the vowels for the sound they make. However, when they're spelling, they have to be able to hear the syllable types. Okay, so we're trusting that when we give them the word bake, okay, and they are sounding b, a, k, and they know because they've said a, there has to be a silent e, then you know they're hearing the syllable pattern. So in our auditory review, we have a segment where we say what syllable says boo, and they have to say final stable syllable ble, boo, and then give them another one, final stable syllable tle, tle, whatever. I thought, why don't we add a few more in? But instead of having them spell it, which we would do, I would have the actual cards out of the syllable types on the table. And rather than having them actually write what I tell them, I'm just going to ask them to identify what is the pattern they hear. What syllable do they hear in the word sweet? Okay, sweet. Now they could say vowel consonant silent E, or they could say double vowel. That was starting to what was throwing me. The word is sweet. They have to kind of have a visual of it. Thank you. So it's a little bit fraught with issue, okay? But we have taught them that regular spelling pattern for vowel consonant silent E with the sound E is in a 1-syllable base word. It's in a medial position, and it's a double vowel syllable. Have we not taught them that? Correct? So the E consonant silent E would be an irregular choice for that particular sound. And this is what they have to apply. So we use strategy C. If I say obsolete, say obsolete.
Obsolete.
What syllable, what is the final syllable in obsolete?
Consonant
To the sound, the actual syllable?
Lead.
So how, what kind of syllable would you think that leet is?
Vowel consonant.
Because it's the final syllable of a 2 or more syllable word, okay? So this is what we want them to start internalizing, the analysis. They obsolete again.
Obsolete.
What is the second syllable in obsolete?
So,
What kind of syllable is that?
open.
Open syllable. Okay, and then just have them touch the pattern that they're hearing. I've done that with a couple of my students as a warm-up. And I'm wondering if it's a better warm-up or if it could be added to the auditory review as an analysis of sound like we do there. But I'm starting to think along those lines because we're asking them to do that in spelling. You know, we're doing it for them visually. They're teaching them syllable division pattern, what syllable type is exposed by doing the proper syllable division process. And therefore, how do you read that syllable? Accent comes into play, all these things. But when they hear it, they also have to be able to analyze what they're hearing. So it's a thought thing, I'm just throwing it out there.
You'd have the 6
I
syllable
would
text
have these
out,
laid
spread
out. And let's just play with it for a minute. Now, how do you perceive this as best? Would you perceive this as best? Hi, here's your handouts from last week and this week. Welcome. We're just going over something I'm kind of wondering about with you guys. Okay.
Can I ask a question? about the
Absolutely.
on the IMF page, the vowel, consonant, silent E's,
Mhm.
they're not in the final position?
No, because the sound E is not in the final position of a vowel, consonant, silent E syllable. If you look at the pattern, the consonant is the final sound, correct?
Like,
Okay,
Okay? Right?
but if they're looking at the syllable,
Mhm.
they're looking at a vowel, consonant, silent E.
Mhm. Yeah,
I understand that the consonant is the last.
sound. Because
What
the
am I
E is silent.
asking?
Huh?
I'm trying to figure out what I'm asking then. Because in the last column of the IMF, it's reading. It's reading, that's why. Do you have a level 3?
Level 3, I don't.
Okay,
Not with me right now.
okay.
But those of you who have your manual do have the workbooks for level 3. If you want to look up level 3 and look at the workbook pages at the back, you'll find those pages. If you can find one, that would be great. Let me walk through this in the meantime. So before you even do this, let's consider this a warm-up, and I've done this as a warm-up. I lay out the patterns and have the student name them, and I like to start with what they've already learned at first, which is what? And they say closed syllable, double vowel syllable, open syllable. The next one they learned, I believe, was R-controlled, and then final stable syllable and vowel consonant silent E. That was the order of introduction, right?
I think it was final stable, so within our control.
I think so, yeah, okay. Not a
This
big
is your
deal. It's
warm-up?
really,
No,
this
it's
is
your
just the
warm-up?
part, and then as I lay them out, they name them. And I might say, okay, which syllable is 2 vowels together in 1 syllable, and the vowel, which one has the vowel consonant after the vowel, making it sound a certain closed, right? Yes. Which is always at the end of a word, never accented, not spelled the way you think. They would, just kind of get them to start thinking about the definitions. And then I say, okay, I'm going to say a word. What syllable do you hear in the word up? And so they'd have to, and they're not able to do that, just say what syllable sound do you hear in up, what comes right after that sound? That is a consonant sound. What syllable type would it be? You kind of talk them through the analysis. So they're internalizing the analysis strategy, okay? So nation, final syllable in nation, what kind of syllable does that? Final stable syllable. Storm, are controlled. Go on with sweet, go into like, open, first syllable in open, or obsolete, have them isolate a syllable, and what kind of syllable is that? So they're not looking at cards, they're not looking at the print, they're analyzing by sound and pattern alone. Do you think there's worth to that?
I do.
Yeah.
I have a lot of work to do though, to get there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Well, once you get to all the 6 syllables, I cannot emphasize more that you're beyond just sound symbol, you're into syllable pattern and also into accents and syllable division patterns. You're into a much higher level of analysis other than just sound by sound by sound by sound, okay?
And
Mhm.
you're saying which is regular, the vowel, consonant, silent
long
E
silent
or
E.
the double vowel? What's the regular choice?
Okay, now when you get into certain vowel sounds, like E,
That's the trick.
you have to keep in mind the auditory review pattern for regular spelling that you've taught them, okay? So you're keeping to that. You're not going to give them train and expect them to come up with double vowel, okay? Because that's the irregular choice.
Right.
Okay, so let's look at E. You know that E is very positional based. It's very analyzed by its position. So digraph EA, and I even have my students write in the initial position underneath it, I put capital I. Digraph EE in the medial, and E consonant silent E in a 2+ syllable word. Okay, final position, open syllable E, digraph EE, and Y at the end of a word. Okay. So when you give them the word sweet, they know it's a 1 syllable and it's in the medial position. They should even know how to spell it. But if I give them concrete, okay, they should hear the 2 syllables and know that it's E's consonant silent E. Okay? So these are the kinds of things you're bringing them to in a regular pattern. I cannot give them the word treat. You know, because treat, they would say double vowel, and that would be correct.
Right.
Okay? But they're going to be visualizing perhaps the wrong thing, and it might not be a good idea to get them. Yeah, Leslie?
Go ahead, I'm gonna change the subjects
Mm-hmm.
with the question, so we'll go to Pam.
So I think you said that before you told us. One of those was the more regular. Is it the double vowel, the EE, or is it the E?
The problem with this particular sound is that they are very much almost the same in terms of commonality. Okay?
Wait, the EE
Yeah,
and
the
the.
EA, there's a slew of
No, I'm
E.
not talking about the EA,
Oh.
because I'm not at the, just those two of
Mhm.
obsolete.
Would be this.
Because that's at the end of a 2-syllable word.
Yeah, see, it's a
E.
2-syllable,
Okay.
multi-syllable word.
Okay,
And these are regular only for 1-syllable words.
okay.
Okay? All right?
Because I did the final stable syllable sort this week with one of my students in level 3, it seems to me that this would be beneficial to start with him now with the syllable types we have to get him
Mm-hmm.
used to thinking this way.
Very good point, very good point.
I was gonna say that because I did Merida's work that we learned here with syllable types for the first time when my student has all the syllable types now. And and it was very hard, and I thought, I should have been doing it when she just had 2 syllable types.
Yeah.
And then kept adding one.
Yeah.
It was just
Yeah.
a lot, it was just
That's
a
a good
lot.
idea.
And you know, that's really good instinct. I was discussing this with Amy Warblow, who took Language 2 last time. She's my intern right now. And I expressed this and went over it with her, and she says, yeah, you should start doing that in level 1, you know?
Right.
Away. And I think that goes with the idea of folding in rather than throwing it all at once. So as you teach new and new, you fold it in and make it more and more automatic on all levels. Sure, great point. Okay, that's why K, you know, the sound for K is folded in, you know, and slowly over time it grows. And we have to keep growing and adding things in a palatable way to our students, okay? All right, any more thoughts about that? I'm gonna move on. At this point in time, we have gotten through level 4 to trigraph D, G, E. Okay, and many of you mentioned that in your decks that you've gotten, you don't have this card, which is an E with a slash through it. If you don't, you need to be in touch with Sandra Dillon, because this should come with every phonogram deck. Okay, it's got an E with a slash in it. That is so important for tracking. Okay, so if you're doing, in your tracking exercises, and it's really an important thing to be able to do, is to have, for instance, show me an, show me man, show me main. And that's where you put this guy out.
Oh.
Okay? It's an important thing to have in your phonogram deck if you're using your phonogram cards. And if you get the Wilson card, I don't think they have the Wilson magnetic board. I don't think they have one. You'd have to make one. Okay? But just, again, like what we were just saying, they have to hear the change of the vowel sound, which changes the syllable type. Okay? And that's an important skill that they need to have. Okay?
Can I ask a sort of level 1 question?
Absolutely.
Okay, so this came up this week with my blends. So LT,
Mhm.
there's no ALT